Hey guys, in this video, we're going to go over the tech stack that our API will use. All right. Before I begin, please like and comment on this video and please subscribe to this channel. I want to be able to help you with whatever questions you have or see what you've come up with. All right. So let's get started. Okay. So what is an API? That's probably a question you had, right? When you first watched this playlist. And the way you want to think of an API is like a server in a restaurant. So, when you go to a restaurant, you haven't really met the chefs, you don't know them personally, right? At least in most restaurants, you don't. And, you're just there to order. You don't really care, like, what techniques are being used to make the food that you want. So, what the server is doing, right? He's going to take your order when you're seated and he's going to submit your order to the chefs. And then the chefs look at, what you ordered, and then they're going to say, oh, okay, I know what he wants. They're going to make the order. It's as if that the chefs are speaking their own language. Okay, and then the server says, hey, we're good. Or the chefs say, hey, we're good. And the server will give the food to the customer. So why do I bring up this analogy? Because, the chefs live in their own world and the customers live in their own world. Even though they're both part of the restaurant, they're both living in different ecosystems, right? And so that's the point I want to highlight here, is that the backend is going to live in a completely different world than the front end. And the front end we made in the React Foundations playlist, right? And we did a good job. Everything was good there. All right. However, in the backend, we're going to be using Node.js and Express, and that's not going to communicate with our, front end, right? If, for instance, the front end just all of a sudden shuts down, the backend will still be alive and ready to go. But there has to be a middleman that's communicating between the two, and that is what an API is. All right. So the backend is in another world, and what essentially is going to happen is the API is going to take the client request, and the API will return the server data. All right. So now in this playlist, what we're going to do is we're going to build a to-do API, and the idea behind this is you want to store our to-dos in the cloud or a cloud-based DB, and that's what MongoDB is. I'm going to talk more about it later on, right? And we're going to use Node and Express to build the to-do API. And then later on, we're going to sync with the to-do app that we built in the React Foundations playlist. There's some prerequisites. You want to have your to-do app ready. There shouldn't be any, problems with it, right? And if you haven't done that, just go to the React Foundations playlist, or even if you have one from another video, that's also okay, all right? Okay, now let's go over into what each, stack element is. So what is Node, right? So Node, all it is just a JavaScript runtime environment. And the beauty with Node is that it executes JavaScript outside the browser, right? So typically you're used to making JavaScript make the DOM elements functional, right? That's not what Node.js does, right? Node.js executes JavaScript outside the browser. So this is like JavaScript in a completely different world, all right? And so many developers have used Node that they actually have built so many projects with it that it's been aggregated into the NPM package manager, right? And there's projects that are just downloaded so much, like Express, that has 1 million downloads weekly, all right? And Node is a powerful framework. It really allows for so many possibilities, okay? And don't worry if you don't understand this, right? This is more of an operating system thing, but Node does not use the thread utilization, right? So it's not using the operating system threads. It's actually using its own event loop to, control the events and sequences that happen in the project. So that's another reason why Node is very attractive to developers. All right, now what is Express? Well, Express is a minimalist web framework, and honestly, it's just a Node project that someone built. So it's just like a Node.js module that you can install via NPM, which we're going to do shortly. Okay? And, you're going to use this to build the APIs, right? So when you're building an API, you want to have a framework that has everything in it, and Express has that. So, we already have security. We already have the server methods. Or Express already has the security, the server methods that get, post, put in, delete, and it's very high performant, so it's good. Okay, and then lastly, what is Mongo? Mongo is a cloud-based database, and it's no SQL, right? So it's the opposite of MySQL. And it's free to use. There is some payment if you want to do some additional things, but we're not going to care about that in this video. Okay, awesome. So now let's talk about the setup. So First of all, you're gonna need Node, so you should have it already because you made the React, app. But if you're using something else, just download Node via this, right? You use the stable version 14.15.3, or you can use Homebrew if you are on a Mac. This is also fine. Okay, and then you also want to make a MongoDB account. So I already made it. I'm gonna show you. I can just sign in. Right, it's pretty straightforward. You don't really need to do that much. Yeah, I signed in, right? Okay, and then basically what's going to happen is you're going to get something like this. Okay, and you can hit collections, right? And you're going to have this. Okay, so let's keep this tab open because I really want us to use it later. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to set up the project. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the CMD. I'm going to go to my to-do app. And then let me see. Oh, it's called React to-do app, sorry. There we go. All right, now I'm going to make the directory React app backend. All right, now that I'm going to do that, cd React app backend. And then what you want to do here is you can just type npm init. All right, so hit enter. All right, you can just hit enter, enter, enter. Yeah, none of this matters. You're chilling. Yes, okay. Awesome. Okay, so there we go. Now we can open this in Atom. Right? And yeah, okay, so package.json. All right, I should have called it to-dos backend. So I'm actually going to delete that and start it over. Yeah. So I'm gonna start it over. So npm init, or whoops, cd dot mkdir to-dos backend, cd into that. All right, and now we're going to do npm init. Okay, so hit enter, right? And you can just hit enter all the way. This doesn't matter. Awesome. Okay. So what's going to happen essentially is that you're going to have a package.json. All right. And this, is same as in your React front end, right? Except we did it the npm init way. So everything's just from scratch. Okay. So yeah, basically that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is let me delete this. All right, cool. So yeah, now what we're going to do is I'm going to create an index.js. And yeah, we're going to populate these files in the next video. And I'll just create a server and new file index.js. Okay, so yeah, we're going to leave this for now, right? And basically, yeah, so sorry about that. So basically what I want to highlight is in index.js, according to the package.json, right, it's going to be the first file that runs. So whenever I do npm start, the index.js will be the thing that runs. Okay. And yeah, basically we're going to keep everything, set up here. And, right. So, honestly, I think for this video, as long as you get the MongoDB, set up, right, and you get the npm init and everything working, you should be good. The main reason I made this video is because you may be coming from, another, standpoint. You have another to-do app. So just get this going, right? So basically to recap, download Node, get the MongoDB backend, right? You just have to make an account, use your Google account, and you should be good to go. All right. And yeah, I think I'm just going to end it here. And in the next video, we're going to start coding. All right. I'll see you in the next one.